Welcome to Ascending with Venus Castleberg, a space where we explore the journey of spiritual awakening, expanding your consciousness and raising your frequency to create a whole new world. We'll dive into the possibilities that open up when you choose to follow the whispers and trust your inner knowing. Each episode is designed to guide you in expanding your awareness, tuning into your intuition, and discovering the magic of your life every day. We'll talk about living aligned with your soul's purpose, going beyond limitations, and creating a life and a world worth celebrating. You are here to embrace who you truly are and step into the infinite potential that's waiting for you. Let's ascend together. And now, here is your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, Amara and Kimberly. I love it when you guys say hello, so feel free to say hello. You can also reach out and give me a call. We can talk about anything you want. We can talk about today's topic, but we could also talk about anything that you might be wondering or pondering in your life. Today, the topic is, how do I fit meditation into my busy life? Hi, Carol. And basically, it's how do you fit anything into your life, right? Have you ever wondered that? Like, you're like, I would like to take a class, but I don't think I have time. Or I would like to meditate, but I don't have time. Or, like all of those things that we think we don't have time for. I'm going to tell you a little trick that my shaman mentor taught me years and years and years ago when I was going to him going, I don't have time to meditate. And I've heard that from some of my students as well. So I figured this might be a good topic for today. So when I went to him and said, I don't have time to meditate, he said, you have to stop trying to fit meditation into your life and start fitting your life around your meditation. And I know some of you didn't hear me, so I'm going to repeat myself. Stop trying to fit whatever it is that you want to fit in your life and start fitting your life around whatever you want to fit in. So if you're looking to meditate more or you want to take a class, basically you schedule the class first and then you put everything else around it. You schedule the meditation and you put everything else around it. And at first it was challenging for me, right? Because I didn't see anywhere where I could put it in first. But then that part is just a choice. It's what you choose. We'll post the phone number if you want to give me a call, because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it's like you're trying to get something done, but you're trying to squeeze it in when you don't have the space. Think of it this way too, and I recently today recently cleaned out my office. I cleaned off all my walls, took everything down, right? Because I wanted to create space for something new. Well, it's hard to put something new when everything is filled. But have you ever noticed that when, let's say, you sell a piece of furniture or you get rid of something, that you're like, oh, wow, there's actually space. And interestingly enough, now there's space, you'll probably put something inside of it, right? So what could you clear off your calendar so that you could put meditation in first? Or maybe, like for me, I had to get up earlier so that I could get it in before my day started, right? But if I sleep in, it's kind of hard for me to get to my meditation. I find mornings are easier as far as meditation goes, if you're thinking about that in particular, just because I haven't looked at my phone yet. I'm not wrapped up in technology. I'm not, figuring out how to respond to somebody, right? Classes haven't started yet. Typically, I don't start my classes before 9 o'clock my time. Sometimes they're 10, 11 o'clock, because I know that I need that morning time to accomplish a few different things. I don't just meditate in the morning, but I also exercise in the morning. I have 2 fur babies, 1 cat, 1 dog. So they require a walk. And yes, the cat likes to go for a walk as well, but she walks in her own little carrying case backpack. She has, she's quite the life. Don't you, treasure? She's sitting in my lap right now. So, hi, Sean, welcome. But it's so common to be like, I don't have time for that. Whatever it is, right? I don't have time for spiritual practice. I don't have time to study. And I'm going to challenge you and tell you you do. You just have to schedule your life around it. Make it the number one priority. And even better than that, what if you made you the number one priority in your life? When you make you the number one priority in your life, then when things are not moving, they might feel like they're moving through sludge or you're having a hard time fitting them into your life. If you make you the priority, then you'll start to notice that there are some things that you'd like to make a priority because they nurture you, they feed you, they uplift you, right? I know meditation for me, that and access consciousness, the bars are like 2 of the tools that I use almost daily to just create some space in my mind, in my head. Because a lot of us, and if you're out there listening to me, you're probably a head tripper. You probably overthink things, because I do. I used to a lot more than I do now. But if you are constantly in your head tripping about things, trying to figure things out, I'd recommend maybe picking up a meditation practice and scheduling your life around it, or getting your bars run and, schedule that into your schedule. There are people all over the world. We're in 170 different countries. And the bars is amazing. Dr. Dane is even doing an online Access Consciousness Bars class on October 27th. So if you've ever wanted to learn the bars, you can actually join online. Now, just so you know, you do need somebody to practice with. So it's usually 2 people. Anyway, you can look into that. So yes, you could learn the bars, but it's hard to do the bars if you don't have somebody to practice on or somebody to do you do it with. So just so you know. But getting your bars run by somebody, just pay somebody to run your bars. It's worth every penny. So the bars, Access Consciousness has a tool called the bars, and you can find out more at accessconsciousness.com. It's a great tool. It's 32 points on the head and basically empties out all the junk in your head. My mom calls it a brain colonic. So, and it's true. It basically gets rid of all the crap, but it's kind of like spring cleaning, right? So how often would you benefit from spring cleaning your mind? You can get your bars run, but you can also meditate. But if you're trying to fit meditation in, it's going to be really hard to do, right? So I guess I know how challenging it seems it is to fit in things that you would like to do in your life. And I've just learned over the years to make whatever it is a priority. So if I want to be hiking every day before the snow hits, then I've got to schedule it in. I've got to schedule my life around it. I've got to make time for it. But I'm sure you guys, some of you have heard the parable. There's a parable. There was a university professor, and the university professor was teaching people in his class about this topic. And he had a jar, and in the jar, much like this jar, he put big rocks, and he filled it up with big rocks. And then he said, okay, is the jar full? And everybody in the class said, yeah, the jar is full because it's full of big rocks. And then he took some pebbles and he shook the pebbles into the jar, and the pebbles like went all around the big rocks and filled up the jar. And then he's like, is the jar now full? And everybody was like, yeah, the jar is now full. And he's like, really? And he took some sand and he poured some sand into the jar and let the sand settle into all the cracks and crevices that are in between all of the rocks. And he said, is the jar now full? And by this time, everybody in class is like, maybe, because they weren't sure what he was going to pull out next. And sure enough, he pulled out some water and poured some water in. And then at the end, he was like, and now is the jar full? And they were like, yes, the jar is full. So suffice it to say, meditation, perhaps it's a spiritual practice. Maybe it's being in nature. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe it's spending time with your fur babies. Whatever it is, family can be. You have these things in your life that are called big rocks, right? They're the priorities. They're the most important things in your life. And you have to put the most important things to you, not to somebody else, but what's true for you in the jar first, in your life first. And then the little pebbles are the next priority, the things that are important, but maybe not as urgent to pay attention to. And then the sand is like all the other stuff, and the water is all the miscellaneous stuff that really, doesn't have much weight in your life, but does take up space. And if you did a lot of like busy work or did a lot of the things that are more like water, and you put water in the jar first, and then you put sand in the jar, there would be no room for the big rocks and the pebbles. So in order for you to really be able to structure your life the way that you want it, you have to put what's priority and most important in first, and then put everything that's second priority in next. And then all the other stuff will fill up the space. Don't worry, if you have empty space, it always gets filled, right? So allowing yourself to be in that space of being like, okay, what's the most important thing I have in my life? And maybe you just sit down and you journal and you write things out, and you're like, okay, these are the most important things in my life, and I have to put these in my life first. Family time, date nights. If you're in a partnership, you probably want to schedule some date night time. Even if you've been in a partnership for a really long time, I highly recommend scheduling dates, because it's really easy to just get carried away by life and all the things that are going on in your life, and not spend time together. And then the next thing you know, you've drifted apart and you're no longer close because you don't spend any quality time together. Most relationships, partnerships, creationships all need time, right? So what can you put in your calendar first? What can you put in your schedule first? And then let everything else fill it in. If you have questions, please call me. It's 202-57. We're going to post it, I promise, because somebody's going to post it for me. The phone number, please put it in the comments. But yes, if you can call me. You can also 202-570-7057. Thank you. It's in the comments. And for you, if you're like, well, my life's already pretty full. Cool. I would do very similar to like what I just did with my office. Is like literally took everything off all the walls. I took everything out of here that I could that wasn't actually like furniture, cleared off my desk, put everything away, and then went, okay, what wants to be in here? And it was really cool. It's like there was a specific painting that had not been in here before that wanted to be in here now. And then there was a plant that wanted to be in here. But that's because now there's space for these other things to show up. Whereas before there was never space. It was always too full, right? So and if you have questions, you can also post them in the comments, and it can be on this subject or something else. So feel free to ask anything about your spiritual journey or spiritual awakening, maybe something you're struggling with. Just pop it in the comments or give me a call. So, like that willingness to clear out your schedule. So my shaman mentor, he was really good at this as well. He had also told me that I was not allowed to plan anything for 3 months. For somebody who was a planner, that was a big deal. It took me a lot to like letting me just be with no plan, because I had like one of those original Palm Pilots before there were iPhones that everybody has, right? Cool. So he said no planning for 3 months, and then 3 months I didn't plan anything, but it was amazing to me how much showed up in that space, how much more was possible and available in that space. Because my life, my calendar, my schedule wasn't full with everything, right? So allowing yourself to maybe just create some space for yourself. We also have this thing called spring cleaning. You guys have all heard of spring cleaning, right? So, but what's the point of spring cleaning, do you think? It's to create space. It's to like get rid of the clothes and the things that you're no longer using so that something else can go in that space. Something else can change. Gary Douglas has this great tool. This is great for like kind of clearing out the clutter in your life, is asking everything in your life, everything in your house, everything in your space. You can just be like, is this making me money? Right? And as you ask that question, is it making me money? Is it contributing to me? So it could be, you could ask directly, does it making me money? Is it contributing to making your life greater? Or are you hoarding and holding on to stuff? Now, you're not wrong if you do, but are you holding on to stuff out of lack or fear that you will never have anything as good or better? In Feng Shui, so Feng Shui is also always seems to be a big thing on clearing clutter and letting go of things that are no longer contributing to you. Feng Shui also says get rid of anything that is broken. So, because again, if you hold on to things that are broken, then you're like, there's this lack mentality, this like, oh, the universe isn't abundant, it can't give me more than that. It's I have to hold on to this because I can't afford to buy something new. Well, maybe you never have to buy anything new, but if you get rid of the broken thing, somebody else can gift you one that's not broken, right? These are just energetic. Like you can address this towards your calendar, towards your schedule, towards anything in your life. If you want a relationship that's more nurturing and empowering and adds value to your life, then you actually have to get rid of the one that's not. Because there's no room for a new one to come in. Now, yeah, some people, do find somebody else when they're in relationship, but that's more rare. And that's because you already have something filling that space. So if you'd like something new to come into your life, what can you get rid of? What can you make space for? Same thing with work. Like if you're working, I don't know. Some people work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Some people work, from sun up to sundown, 7 days a week, right? But if you're working that much, when do you have time for you? When do you spend time on you? And I think I've mentioned it before here, but I mentioned it again because it's popping today. Like taking 1 day a week and 1 hour a day at minimum for yourself to just be in the energy and follow the whispers, to just trust that something magical or something else will show up, even if you're like, don't have everything scheduled out. Yeah, kind of cool. So Sean, and that's common. That's great. I love hearing that. She says, I hold on to things, not because I'm afraid I won't be able to afford it, but because I think if I get rid of it, I will need it afterwards. So here's a little trick that I applied into my life. If I haven't used it in a year or two, some people need 2 years. If I haven't used it in a year or two, then I get rid of it. And maybe, I'm really good actually at getting rid of stuff. I could fit everything I owned in the back of my car until I bought a house. But up until that point, I was very light and I would always get rid of stuff because I feel like other people can use it more, right? So, but at the same time, if it's contributing to you, keep it, right? But you get to ask, is this still contributing to me and adding value to my life? But I also like to donate things because I know then somebody else is probably going to use it and get a lot more use out of it. I have a couple of cat towers that my cat doesn't use because when she was little, they were good for her because they were little ones. But now she's got to have the big ones. So I'm getting rid of the little ones because she's not playing with them anymore. But I know somebody else who has a kitten or cat can actually utilize those. And then I have maybe I can count on my hand, and I can't remember all of them, but there was probably 3 times that I got rid of something that I was like, oh, I guess I could have used that. But then it didn't matter again, and I never thought about it again. So it was like I had one thought that maybe I could have used it, and then I was like, it's okay, it's gone. So again, but you have to do what works for you. I'm not trying to convince you. Yeah. Yeah, Chris says, often your stuff expands to match the size of the space you have. Absolutely. And I used to live in a 500 square foot studio, and I now live in a 3,000 square foot house. So you need a little bit more stuff to fill it up. That being said, right now, my office feels amazing because I'm like, wow, there's so much space in here now. And there's just a lot of stuff filling clutter, even stuff I wasn't using. I have new lights for being on camera now, and I used to have those big bulky ones, and they were sitting in the office, and I'm like, all that stuff doesn't need to be here, right? So, and then other stuff like this book's been pulling on me for a while, and this book's actually been in my a box but I could feel it pulling on me. It's actually a really cool book if any of you are interested. It's called The Secret Teachings of All Ages. It's a brilliant book. I highly recommend getting the medium size or the extra large size because it's got very small print. So if you need reading glasses, I can read it, but with a magnifying glass, the little one would require a magnifying glass because it's so small. But that book was like, I want to be in here now. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yes, it's by Manly P. Hall, if any of you are wondering. So, but that is just like, when you create the space, what's available then to put in it? And then what becomes a priority or what becomes the big rock? So what are your big rocks, I wonder? So thank you, everyone. Let's go ahead and take a short break, and we'll come back in just a couple minutes.
Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Hello and welcome forward. If anybody has any questions, 202-570-7057. You can call in and talk to me. I don't bite. But what would you like to know? What would you? Spirit has been nudging me to talk to them. There's something sticking me to focus more on it. I love that question, Amara. Would you call in so I can talk to you? Because I kind of am getting your question, but not really. So it's 202-570-7057. That would be such a contribution to me to be able to talk to you about this. Any other? I'm waiting patiently. What's that? Isn't that like a game show or something? This is the waiting song. I'm hoping Amara's calling in. I'm sure she is because she's one of my star students. So I'm positive that she's actually like calling in. Cool. Well, if you're out there and you heard my story about the big rocks, does it make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Give me your favorite emoji. Are you tracking? Does it mean, do you get it? Does anybody out there have maybe a little bit more, even if it's just a smidgen of a more idea of how to fit meditation or spiritual cool. A little of how to fit maybe some more of your spiritual journey into your life. Okay, try again tomorrow. I just poked our host. Okay, on standby. I'm ready for her. Just drop her in. Cool. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, actually, thank you for saying that, Kimberly. Absolutely. That's called mindfulness, which is a form of meditation. You can totally be doing activities like exercise, walking outside is one of my big ones, like definitely walking in nature. I'm doing a mindfulness meditation. Cooking's also one of mine. I love to cook and sometimes even cleaning. I also like to listen to books and auditories, but sometimes I get the pull to just be quiet, right? So I also love to paint. I'm a bit of a closet painter, artist. I haven't really gotten my art out there much, but I might be changing that soon because my art has taken a new turn and I'm excited to share it. But yeah, like doing art. I also find that when I'm doing something mindful and I'm not necessarily listening to music or a book or something like that, that there is okay, Amara, we're working on it. So Amara apparently is on standby. She isn't talking. Maybe Amara, maybe say something. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're working on it. So you can go ahead and say something, Amara. You don't go directly to online. You talk to Christopher first, and then he'll drop you to talk to me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the mindfulness, like being able to just spend some time being quiet, and then what kind of downloads do you get? Sometimes too, you can, I love this, and I'm grateful for Kim for pointing this out the other day for me. Like you can sometimes be in conversation with somebody and have stuff come through, right? But that willingness to just be like, make things light, to have a conversation and just see, but sometimes when you're having just a regular conversation with somebody, you're creating space. You're kind of like clearing the air. So the Grither. Thank you. I have a soothing voice. I just like to hear it. Well, that's awesome. Amara's like, it's almost like I'm hesitating. Who, you? No. And the Grither, we do meditations on these often. So if you like to hear my voice, then we'll do a visualization here. It looks like we're not going to be able to connect with Amara. But you might have to clarify that question then a little bit more for me in the text for me to address it. Cool. Okay, so he says you have to actually talk to him. You can't just be in the waiting room. Just talk. Say, hello, this is Amara. Spirit has been nudging me to talk to them. There's something sticking me to focus more on it. Okay, well, I can share this one. So for a while, I think this might contribute, Amara. I have known, I've often channeled, but I've done channel writing and I've done channel. I have known, I've often. Okay, cool. Actually, I'll tell you that in a second. I'm going to talk to Amara first.
I am speaking to you.
Hi,
No
Amara.
one answering.
Actually, I'll tell you that in a second. I'm going to talk to Amara first.
I am speaking to you. There we go.
Hi, Amara.
I am speaking to you. There we go. It's kind of a delay.
Yeah, go ahead and turn down your show so you can just talk to me like we're on the phone.
It's kind of a delay.
Yeah, go ahead and turn down your show so you can just talk to me like we're on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. How you doing, honey?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Awesome.
What's your
I'm
question?
not sure how this works. Well, when I was laying in bed this morning, and my spirit team is asking me to talk to them, and I start talking to them, and then I squirrel and get distracted. It's almost as if I'm hesitant to walk forward into what they may be showing me, feeling like I'm not ready for that. But usually when they do show me things, I am ready for that. So it's like a conflictual kind of deal.
Cool. Okay. Well, so what's the hesitation?
Good question. Getting stepping into something that's bigger than me.
Well, truth, is it bigger than you or is it just different than everybody else?
Definitely different. But as far as being seen a huge population.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but are you willing to be truth? Are you willing to be different than everybody else? Like really different?
Boy, that was heavy.
Yeah. Right, because we're all still trying to fit in. We're all still trying to be, and I'm right there with you. Right, I had an awakening today as well, so I'll share about that in a second. But, like that willingness to not be different, so different that people might look to you for answers. People might call you a guru. People might, right, make you the source of their life. But that's their choice. That doesn't mean that's what you're out there to do, right? So everywhere where you're not willing to be so different, would you be willing to throw that in the violet flame?
Yes.
Cool. For those of you who are new, anything that fire touches, it transforms, right? So you can just throw it in the violet flame, throw it in the fire, and transform it. You can also use the Access Conscious Clearing Statement or say POC and POD. So, more space, less space, something else.
There's more space, but there feels like there's something else that's like a sliver that's poking me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, Amara, would you be willing to talk about dragons to everybody?
Sure.
Okay. So then truth, what wouldn't you be willing to talk to people about?
Oh, there you go. Uh-oh. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Yep.
Okay. Because the live video ended for some reason on my computer. Yeah. So, that's a really good question. What am I not willing to talk about?
Or truth, what are you not willing to be?
What comes up is totally transparent.
Mm-hmm. Right.
In public.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you showed everybody how powerful you were, then they would see everything in your life. Think about the famous people in their lives, right? Everybody knows all the secrets.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's something I've been suppressing down because I don't want people to know my past.
Okay. Truth. Is your past relevant?
Oh, what's sticking me is the judgment of people judging my past.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So are you here to make everybody happy, or are you here to change the world? Truth.
Well, I'm here to change the world, but getting over my people pleaser mentality.
Right. Right. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So everywhere where you're trying to keep everybody happy and people pleasing, can we let that go and throw it in the violet flame?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's old stuff I don't need to drag with me anymore.
No. I highly recommend, I think I actually recommended this to you already, but write a book.
That's what I'm working on.
Put all your secrets in it and publish it. You will get over the fact that you need to hide anything from anybody really quickly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? It was the best thing I've ever done. I was like, oh, okay, here are all my secrets, all the things I've tried to keep hidden. And I could, I'm just because I wanted to look perfect and have everybody like me. And I'm just no, here it is. Here's my life. Like it or don't, it's okay.
Wow. Okay. And it's so funny because some of the topics I've been writing down has to do with my life. and what I've had to work through.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
Well, and can you acknowledge, Amara, that everything that you chose, good, bad, and ugly, got you to here and got you to where you are in your life right now? Right.
Absolutely.
So would you actually change any of it?
No,
No.
I would not.
So then everything that you show people is like, oh, you know what? Amara's human too? No way. I thought she was perfect.
Exactly.
So everywhere where any of us are still trying to appear perfect, or that we have it all together, or we don't have any flaws, or nothing ever happened to us, can we please throw that in the violet flame?
Yes.
Awesome. So how are you now?
Much lighter. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for calling in and being patient with the whole technology thing.
Sure. No problem.
Awesome. Anything else I can contribute to you today?
No, I think that's enough to chew on.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thanks, honey. Have a great day.
All right.
Cool. So something I wrote a book and I included all my secrets. But interestingly enough, I did skirt over some things even in the book, right? I was like, oh, I can share about that and that, but there's things in my book that I'm like, I said a little bit about, but I could have said way more, right? So I'm in the process of writing a second book to like reveal all the other secrets. So stay tuned. But it's more, the second book is more my spiritual journey. The first book was more about me falling in love with myself and learning to love myself. But I totally get it, because I get that there's these things that make us so different and so unique. And as somebody who was teased when I was a child because of my name, I was born with that name. I was not, I didn't give myself that name years later. And there's nothing against anybody who makes up their own names. I love that too. I just didn't do that. And I was teased. I was taller than most kids. My pants were always too short because I was so tall and, waiting for a flood. I was just teased. I was teased a lot as a kid. And as I got older, when I became a clairvoyant medium, most of you know this story if you watch my show, but like when I became a clairvoyant medium, I didn't want that gift. I was like, no, that makes me too different, too weird. I definitely don't want that gift. And, there's other parts of that story that I never told people. Like, the first spirit I used to see with my physical eyes, even I could see like cherubs and little angels and stuff like that. I saw a ghost walking up my stairs, like the bottom of her dress once, with my physical eyes, because I was practicing training my physical eyes. This was before my real spiritual awakening. It was kind of like what I was doing in the interim before it happened. Spiritual awakening meaning my third eye opened and I could see the spirit realm. But then to have myself sitting in church, and while I was sitting in church, I was practicing seeing with my physical eyes. And if you're wondering how to do that, you just find a point to focus and you let the rest of the world blur. It's also a great way of seeing chakras, or not chakras. Well, chakras you could, but I mean auras. And so I was playing with that, and I had a little 3-foot pink alien show up. And my friend who had lots of experience and history with aliens and had videotaped spaceships and wrote a memoir about aliens and his encounters and all that stuff, he was helping me train my physical eyes. And I like grabbed his knee and I was like, there's a pink alien here. And he said, yep, that's grandma. I'm like, grandma? Your grandma? Whose grandma is she? Suffice it to say, I stopped practicing trying to see things with my physical eyes for a while. A long time, actually. Because I was like, oh, no, it's a little too much. But again, it's that space of being different. It's the space of being so different that others can't relate to you. They don't get you. I mean, if you were on last week's show, we had a couple comments about like how what we were talking about was crazy talk. And I was like, there's going to be people out there that don't get you. But the only person that needs to get you is you. And if you're here and you're interested in your spiritual awakening or ascending at all, listening now or in the future, that's different, right? The name of the show is called Ascending. That's different, right? Not a lot of people out there talking about this. But that spiritual awakening is happening for a lot more people. And I still desire for a lot of people to know that they're not alone and they're not crazy. And so if you're having a spiritual awakening right now and, it makes you so different, you're not crazy and you're not alone. But yeah, just choose what works for you and the rest of the world will catch up or they won't. But it's really about choosing what's best for you. And like I said, your spiritual practice, your spiritual studies, your spiritual connection, those are probably all things that are important to you. Again, if you're watching this show, and if they are, then you need to put them in your life first. Put your meditation practice in your life first. Meditation can heal physical ailments. It can connect you to source. It can connect you to your spiritual team, to all sorts of the spiritual realm, because you're pausing and you're giving space so they can show up. If you don't give space so that can show up, then you're just in the rat race of your life and busy, and you're not wrong. I'm not saying that this is the right way and that's the wrong way, but I'm just saying, if I don't give space, stuff just can't come through because I'm just too in my head or too busy, distracted by the busyness of life instead of allowing the magic of life and the miracles of life to show up. So what are your big rocks? Maybe you can comment. I'd love to see what you guys consider your big rocks. What are your priorities? What's important to you? You can comment below. I'd love to see what's important to you and what you are going to start scheduling your life around because it's important to you. And if it's not important to you, then obviously don't schedule your life around it. I know that seems obvious, but it doesn't have to be important to you, right? So for a long time I was single and family time was not that important. I'd have some family time, like with my mom when she'd visit or I'd visit her, but it wasn't like I needed to schedule family time every day, right? Or schedule family time every week, right? But what do you want to schedule? And what do you want to put into your schedule first? And let everything else come around it. Is it time in nature? Is it singing? Do you like to sing? Do you like to write? If you're a writer or you're wanting to be a writer or you're writing a book, you actually have to block off time to do so. I wrote my first book by saying I was going to write 20 minutes a day at minimum every single day. Some days I wrote more, but every day I wrote at least 20 minutes. But again, that became a big rock that had to be in my life scheduled first. So awesome. You're welcome, Carol. Amar says mediumship, creating art, meditation, taking time for taking care of my body. Absolutely. Right? So put those in first, whatever those things are for you. So, and you just never know what might show up. when you start to create the space for writing the books that show up or the information that shows up because you gave it space. Yes. Kimberly says, yes, that's going to be a big rock. Awesome. I'm guessing for your writing, right? Yeah. So even I get sidetracked by stuff too. And I'm like, okay, so this day or this block of time or this, every morning, whatever it is, you find the time and the rest will work itself out. Any other questions out there, comments, anything else anybody else would like to talk about? If you have anything, I have a few more minutes. I can answer a question in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hi, Sandra, welcome. Or you can share your big rocks. What are your big rocks? I don't know. I don't usually do this, but I'll do it for you guys. So let's see if I can do this remotely gracefully. So one of the big rocks that I've added back into my life because it had kind of gone away was painting, was art. And I have this new thing developing. He's not finished, but he started, and I thought I would share it with you. Hi, Tamara. Welcome. Let's see if I can get you guys in there. Can you see him in the corner? Ooh, it's Buddha. So Buddha and what I consider probably a vortex. Anyway, I hope you like it. I can get a better picture of it next time, but thank you. Oh, thanks everyone. So stay tuned. We'll be having, maybe we'll share some Buddha art in our, yes, it's a portal. It is, you're right. So maybe we'll share some art in our Facebook group. If you're not in our Facebook group, you're totally invited. It's Empowering Psychic Mediums. I am going to tell you this, kind of based on the little alien thing. So I have experience with aliens as well, and more experience to share. I'm not sure how that's going to change. Yeah, thanks, Sandra. I don't know how that's going to change things. It won't change ascending at all. It really is bridging realms, but we're also bridging realms between extraterrestrials as well as the spirit realm, meaning ghosts and stuff like that. So if any of that is fascinating to you, you can come on over to our Facebook group called Bridging Realms. And we look forward to seeing you over there. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for talking to me and giving me somebody to talk to. And I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.